Well, the market's been pretty kind of doom and gloom lately, specifically here on this channel where I do my best to call them as I see them. And lately, the market has not been doing well. We're seeing more inventory on the market now than we have in more than the last decade, and sales seem to be just, well, they're taking the summer off. That being said, there seems to be a tiny little glimmer of hope out there, and I'm going to talk about that because in this really slow summer market, seemingly, we have managed to string together about 6 or 7 sales here on my team with another like 5 properties under contract. So it's not like nothing is happening out there in the market, but the heyday is definitely done for the time being. But like I say, there is a glimmer of hope out there. And my little glimmer of hope is you would subscribe to the channel and go ahead and click the like button for the YouTube algorithm to help me get this information out to more people. And if you are one of those folks that's thinking about selling and you've finally come to terms with the fact that it's not going to be as easy as it has been over the last little bit and you need help, well, you can book a call with me right now using the link in the description below at a time that works best for you. Now, let's talk about the fact that, well, there are some folks returning to the market. And when I mean returning to the market, I'm talking about buyers. Now, I don't want to get this on the wrong foot here. And, this is not a real estate agent like me pumping the market saying, hey, it's back. It's not back. It's not back. It's not going to be back for a while. But at the exact same time, the calls that I am getting booked into my calendar right now with clients that I don't yet know, that people are looking to interview me to help represent them in a purchase of property. Right now, those are falling into 2 groups. The investors. The investors, first off, are starting to rear their ugly heads, if you want to look at it that way. But there's enough investors out there that are starting to go, okay, some of this might start making sense over the next little bit. Prices have softened. I don't have a bunch of competition. I don't have to be the highest offer now in a competing offer situation. It looks like for sure interest rates have peaked and aren't going back up anytime soon. So now, even if I do pay maybe a little more than I want, probably I'm going to end up in 5 years from now with a lower interest rate than I have now. So I'm considering re-entering the marketplace. The numbers are starting to get closer, maybe not quite yet, but starting to get closer to numbers that make sense. So they're setting up calls, they're booking showings on things like, for instance, coach homes. Coach homes, which is, if you're unfamiliar, kind of a legal, not legal, 3-unit kind of detached house, coach home over the back. So basically 2 of the units are legal. One in the basement's usually not legal. But either way, I'm from Surrey and welcome to the land of the illegal basement suites. Investors are thinking about picking up things like that. Investors are also starting to look at 1 and 2-bedroom condos again, because those markets, well, they're flooded right now with inventory. And I mean, to be fair, the investors have the option to go out there and offer on what they think is a good product and not just have to offer on absolutely just whatever's available at the time. Because these investors that are coming back, one thing they have in common and this isn't like 1 or 2, this is like, it's a good chunk of folks that I'm speaking to. So they all have not even a 5-year hold plan. These are all people talking about holding properties 20 or more years. So these are the really long vision investors that want to buy a product and know that here's the crazy part. They're all starting to use that word portfolio. Meaning they don't just have the idea of owning 1 property, or they don't already own just 1 property. They want to get into more and more properties because they understand real estate over the long term is a great investment vehicle for your money. Even though, capital gains and all that stuff has changed, people are still interested in real estate. So investors are at least starting to kick tires on some properties. Even one of the properties that we recently have for sale here, buyer investor. So think about that. But there's also then the second group, and this group is just as important as the investors. First-time buyers are starting to emerge. Now, it's early days. It's not yet, hey, I got to get out there this weekend and buy a place and I'm going to go into competing offers. Same thing as the investors. But some of the young folks out there, and I'm talking under, let's call it 30 years old, they're going, okay, you know what? This kind of makes sense. There's some, with rents where they are and prices coming down and my carrying costs, and admittedly, mom and dad are going to help out. Maybe not as much as you think, but mom and dad are going to help out with the down payment. This is starting to make sense. And I really, truly want to maybe own something of my own. I didn't think it was possible. All the news was talking about prices going crazy and how expensive everything is. And now we're starting to see those buyers go, no, you know what? I know it's more than rent. I know buying is still going to be more than rent, but I'm starting to see some value there. So I want to reach out to a professional like me or my team or other real estate professionals out there. And I want to see if I can actually make this a reality, because again, I'm hearing in the news that I don't need to compete. I can finally get out there and take a look at some properties and understand what a good property is. Maybe have the pick of the litter, because for instance, Wally, if you want to be near the SkyTrain, there are some great products out there, some great square footages, when before you just had to get whatever you could, and you just ended up getting in this tiny little shoebox in the sky. You couldn't pick to make sure you got the proper one-bedroom layout that you were looking at. You got squeezed into a junior one bed, that sort of thing. So there is some hope out there that for real estate agents like me, pumpers like me, as we call it, bulls of the market, there is some sign that things are starting, early days, starting to turn around. And if you are in that group and you're looking to purchase a property here in Surrey or the Fraser Valley, you can book a call with me right now using the link in the description below at a time that works best for you. Please subscribe, click the like button, and we'll see you in a couple of days.